Andrew knows the real answer, but he ducked out on us, so he didn't have to reveal it. He knew exactly what the answers are. Welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we are going back to the island with 5 amazing cast members from Lost, and now is the time for all of you in our chat room to begin typing in your questions for them. Immediately after this session, you will have the opportunity to talk to them directly through our private chat options, as well as shop through our selection of personalized autographs, all of which are available now at GalaxyCon.com. So without further ado, let's open up the hatch and bring them out. Our first guest is an actor and producer whose body of work includes the Wishmaster film series, Another 48 Hours, and the highly underrated Oblivion series of films. Today he joins us to discuss the role of the multiple timeline appearances of Mikhail Bakunin. Please welcome Andrew Divoff.
Thanks very much. Good to be with you.
Thanks for joining us, boss. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. And yourself?
Holding up well. Like I said, we are in a new year, and I think so far we're just the new year is brushing off the last of the old year, and that's my theory, and I'm sticking to
it. Good. Yeah, I'm here. I'm coming to you live from my brewery, from Three Marm Brewing, and here at work today. I've got my gear all ready to go, but and just to the fans who are tuning in, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to have you here. Again, yes, you're heavily involved with brewing. You got some, tell us a little bit about your brewing career.
So, it kind of started in 2013. I went out, long story short, I went out to Colorado to help a friend, was invited out by Ron Crawford. I got to meet Adam Drager, who is sort of my mentor. He's a master brewer. Came up to me. I was supporting a charity out there. They were pouring wine and cheese. The wine happened to be called Gins Malbec, I guess, as an homage to the creature. And the wine, frankly, was fairly awful. I wouldn't put it on a salad. But Adam came up to me and he said, "You know what? The Wishmaster needs a beer." And so it started with that. And thank you to Gina Miliozzi out at Rock and Shock. She allowed me to bring the beer out and pour it. I brought it out there with the great help of Ron Crawford. We poured it for the first time, and people dug it. It's a Belgian Golden Strong Ale. Starts with Persian lime and finishes with roasted habanero for that hellish heat.
Ooh, okay. Now, first you had my interest. Now you have my attention. Well, I look forward to grabbing some of this. And did I read correctly that you took a sledgehammer to the Berlin Wall?
I did. I happened to be in line. Next guy in line, they handed me the mallet, the sledgehammer, and I started whacking away. I just remember it was weird. The footing of that wall had a sort of almost a K rail thing going on, so that you couldn't approach it. So I was kind of throwing my back out each time I hit, but got caught up in the moment, as it were.
Hey, that was a moment in history. I envy you for that. Did you keep a piece of it?
I gave it all away. It all away. I've got pictures from the event, but my the most stunning visual for me was seeing, because at that time the West German Republic was giving the East Germans, they would come across the border, Checkpoint Charlie, in fact, and was giving them 200 marks to come in and buy whatever, and it was the oddest thing to see. This sort of line of ants. I mean, it just reminded me of that. They were all very orderly, walking in line and coming through and getting their money. And then the other line on the other side of the street was going back. Wow. And what was going back was microwaves, televisions, things that behind the Iron Curtain were fantasies. So it was quite
blue jeans.
Yes, and blue jeans, of course. Yeah. But I'm so happy that I attended, that I went there, and it I'll never forget it.
A moment in history. I envy you for that. I really do. So, and thank you for being here again.
Oh, you bet.
And who else is here? He is an actor whose body of work includes The Expanse, Rescue Dawn, and the 2017 version of The Tick. Today he joins us as astrophysicist and trading video star, Dr. Pierre Chang. Please welcome back Francois Chau.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Francois.
Hey, Andrew. It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
I think, was it, it's like over 10 years since we did that thing.
Yeah, it was London, wasn't it? Or outside of London?
Outside of London, yeah.
Yeah. Been a while, brother. We have to catch up.
Exactly.
Francois was just here a few weeks ago. We had an animated G.I. Joe reunion, which was an absolute blast. And usually I would say, oh, how was your year? How's your new year? But I literally just saw you about 3 weeks ago. So how have you been since then?
I've been doing well, trying to just hanging in there, wear a mask, stay away from people.
Yeah. Indeed, Andrew's mask is not just for heavy work. So, well,
Yeah.
Francois, always a pleasure to have you back here. It's so good to see you again.
Thanks, Patty. Thanks.
Our next guest, he is an Emmy Award-winning actor whose credits include Saving Private Ryan, was also in Rescue Dawn with Francois, and Justified. Today, he joins us to discuss the role of temporal scientist Daniel Faraday. Please welcome Jeremy Davies.
Yay.
Hey, my friends. Francois.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Good to see you, family friends.
Good to see you, brother.
Patty, thank you for having me so wildly against your better judgment. Good stuff.
How can we not, sir? Thank you for joining us. I have been a great admirer of your body of work for so long, and I'm a huge Justified geek, so I really enjoyed your performance in that. And I think it definitely was worthy of an Emmy, and thank you for that.
Well, I am redefining the meaning of grateful for your kind words. I still feel like I'm getting away with it. I felt like I was getting away with it from day one in this business, certainly on Lost, and I continued the trend with Justified. Felt like I really got away with. I actually had a theory that the good at which I was aiming, to quote Socrates, if you will, too early in the morning, was, or my game plan was to, ideally, what I wanted most was to try to pull off a situation where I could establish a character in Lost that was as cerebral and intellectual and internal as possible and subtle, and then in the best of all worlds, even though most actors have zero control over what roles come next, I was hoping to. I was holding out as long as I could to try to find a role as recklessly demonstrative and as much of a rebel and a loose cannon and as Dickie Bennett. To be able to show the contrast,
and I think your audiences and your peers certainly thought so when you were given that accolade. So again, thank you for that, and thank you so much for joining us here today to talk about your role in Lost. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here, boss.
Thank you again for having me against your better judgment.
That remains to be seen, young man. Our next guest, he is an actor and screenwriter whose body of work includes Bates Motel, Suddenly Susan, and the 2001 version of The Tick. Watch out, Francois. Today, he joins us to discuss the role of the ageless Richard Alpert. Please welcome Nestor Carbonell. Sorry.
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you for having me, Patty.
Oh, pleasure, boss. How you been holding up?
I'm doing okay, thank you. We're hunkered down. The kids, one's off to college, one's still here, virtual learning, and my wife is here. So, we're doing okay. Thanks, all things considered. I hope everyone's doing well. It's
doing well. Thanks, Nestor.
Thanks,
It's
Nestor.
very different time, and it's great to see all of you. This is such a special thing for me to have this mini reunion of sorts. So thank you, Patty, for doing this.
Absolutely. I'd say any chance to bring Batman onto the GalaxyCon virtual stage is.
Well,
I have the cod piece in the ears, and I can get it.
No. We're here to talk about Show Lost. And speaking of, tell us about All Is Not Lost.
Oh my God! Oh yes. So listen, my beautiful wife Shannon, an incredibly talented actress in her own right, and as well as a writer, now wrote a book called, and I'm going to shamelessly plug it here. It's All Is Not Lost, and I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a little Easter egg there under the plane. But it really it's a beautiful. You know, I moved to Hawaii with Shannon and the kids in the last season. I was commuting back and forth here from LA, and Shannon, the book is really about a woman. It's her memoir, who essentially gives up her lifelong dream, her passion that she so identifies with, in favor of full-time motherhood, only to suddenly find herself at war with her own ego and unfulfilled ambition, and so it's a really, hopefully, I think it will speak to a lot of people who've either not just fans of the show naturally, but also people who have felt lost at any point, and certainly have had to sacrifice something, that they so identify with. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, it's raw. It's not a salacious, tell-all in any way. Sure. But fans of the show, I think, will appreciate all the nods to the sort of off-screen work. I think we have the author right here. Come over here. Look at this. We'll introduce the author of this phenomenal book. Shannon, my wife Shannon.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Jeremy, Andrew.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi.
And yes. And anyway, so I'm sorry, I'm babbling on, but thank you for the fans who've already pre-ordered it. If you can get it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It's beautiful, it's raw, it's hysterical, and always compelling. So
absolutely, we're fine books. Thank you so much.
A
little bit. No. Jen, she rewrote this, put a lot of effort into it, and it's really profound, but it's also just a fun read. So.
Absolutely. And speaking of fun and beautiful things, our final guest is an actress whose roles include Roswell, The Hills Have Eyes, and of course, one of GalaxyCon's favorite shows, Once Upon a Time. Today, she joins us to discuss the role of mother-turned-warrior, Claire Littleton. Please welcome back our friend, Emilie de Ravin.
Hey, Emilie.
Oh, it's been so long. Thank you, Patty, for doing this and for having me back again.
Always.
This is really cool, you guys.
Absolutely, always.
Sorry, apologies for my undesirable background I've got here. I'm in my Jeep because the Wi-Fi is good.
If fans have joined us for our Once Upon a Time channels, will know that Emilie has been doing a road excursion throughout parts of the country, and she's been on some wonderful adventures.
Yeah, we have. It's been. We left the beginning of August, and not sure how long we're going, but started in LA at home, and then just been stopping sort of every 3 to 7 nights, and it's insanely cool. I gotta tell you, I mean, I knew this country was beautiful, but really had no idea
that's so cool.
How much.
So cool.
And just trying to nutshell too for why we're doing it is our nearly 5-year-old was going to be going into kindergarten, and we didn't want her going in person or knowing if it was going to be in person, whatever. Our little one just turned 2, so to give them an enriching time during this challenging, to say the least, period of our lives, we decided to do this because we can do it socially distanced. We have a big RV, and just be outside and educate and live and love and learn and spend time together.
Absolutely.
That's and we're in Florida right now. We just got to Florida like 4 days ago. So the weather is amazing. Of course.
You, as a Floridian and someone in Orlando right now, and I can tell you picked about the best time of the year. This is the year when people come and visit. Yeah. I say, "Oh, we should move here." No, you don't want to. Come back. This
was the first stop we actually set when we were like mapping it all out. We're like, we want to be in Florida at this time, kind of only. And yeah, so we're going down to the Keys next. And,
Oh, beautiful.
yeah, super excited.
Oh, that would be lovely. That'll be lovely. Well, gentlemen and lady, as always, thank you for joining us here today. We here at GalaxyCon are looking forward to the time when the world does get a little bit back to normal, and we're looking forward to the day
Yes.
when we can host you on our physical stages and get you all back in front of your fans. But in the meantime, we have this forum called the GalaxyCon Virtual Stage, and so glad to have you all here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Daddy.
Absolutely. Our team right now is going in the chat room and pulling out the questions for us. In the meantime, I would just love to hear how you all came into your roles on Lost, and chronologically, of course, ladies first.
Chronologically first. I was doing probably the worst is a harsh word, but you know, the worst job. As far as like, it was a super fun job, but the movie was terrible. In called Santa's Sleigh. Slay as in, you know, killing. Anyway, that was in, where was that? Edmonton in Canada. And I was working with the lovely and talented Douglas Smith, who I just watched on, I didn't realize he was on Big Little Lies. Awesome job. Anyway, we were super young and I got an audition for a Lost and put myself on tape with him in a hotel room and sent it off. And I never had a script. I mean, I got one. At some point, I got one. But I think I might have read Shannon's lines too. Anyway, that was that, and I just sent that off. And I didn't get the script till I got to Hawaii. I went home to repack from this Santa's Sleigh experience, and so from snow to beautiful Hawaii, all within like a few weeks. It was a whirlwind. It was awesome, and it was just one of those things that I had a gut feeling about. You know, it's a big risk to take on. You know, a decision like that. It's a little easier when you're younger, I guess, but it's a big time commitment, you know, and if you don't know much about it, except, you know, the obvious being JJ, and, you know, I was a big fan of his work, and yeah, that was kind of how that all went down.
And what a run for your character.
Yeah, it was that was another cool thing about, you know, there's other shows that I've been on that you never know everything about your character from day one. It's just impossible, but for many reasons. But there was a lot I did not know about Claire, and I was quite nervous about that because I don't know, I was more so than I am now. When I'm acting, I like to know. I'm the kind of person, just as Emilie too, I like to know everything. Sure. I need to know everything. So that was a challenge, but ended up being a really good challenge. One of those challenges that you actually really learn from, and that you really, in the end, just embrace, and found why that ended up being really cool. Because she went through a lot of twists and turns. I mean, especially at the end, obviously. I knew quite early on that they were going to do like a year go away for her, so I sort of knew something was happening, but had no idea. Really.
Oh well.
Yeah, very, very, very lucky. She was an awesome character.
Certainly.
I miss you, Claire. Good job, girl.
Oh, indeed. So, Francois, I think you came in season 2, correct?
I think I came in. Yeah, at the end of season 1 is when they opened the hatch, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, season 2 was when they find the little orientation film that I do. Yeah, no, but then it was supposed, you know, when I got the gig, I thought it was just going to be a one-time thing where they find this little clips of film and then that was it. But then they kept calling, and you know, who am I to say no, right?
True.
It's funny about what Emilie's saying about the character, because you know, I think everybody here has the same thing where we didn't really get the whole script, or we didn't get, you know, we got very little information, and so as we went along, and I kept doing these orientation videos and stuff, and it wasn't until later where my character was seen a little more, and then by that time, you know, all of a sudden I'm looking at the script and I go, wow, I'm kind of an asshole in this thing. It's too late to right. You're stuck and you just got to go along with it.
An honest asshole. We love you for that.
Fair. Absolutely fair. So, and then season 3 that brought us Andrew and Nestor. Andrew, why don't you take it?
Yeah. So it was wonderful. A quick shout out to April Webster, who I thank. First of all, Lost changed my life. The island, the people, the local people, and of course the crew, my fellow cast members. I was running a logging crew. It was 03. I had said no. Share with you. I had said no to some other roles. That were Russian and that different accents, different accented characters for the show. And as I said, I was running a logging crew at the time. We were up in the mountains. I'm up in the San Bernardino Mountains. We were experiencing the bark beetle infestation, which killed 90% of our coulter pines up here. And so I was doing all right. I was making, decent money, good money. End of a day, it was so odd because you couldn't, mind you, in the mountains, fireplaces, chimneys are important, especially this time of the year, winter. So you couldn't give firewood away. So my day, I was a glorified groundman, which means I would clear the lines for the climber cutter, get rid of the slash, the stuff that had come off the tree, move it around, and at the end of the day, I would take all of that and the rounds to the dump. And I had kept saying no and no and no to April. And then I read the sides for Mikhail, and I loved the guy. I loved the fact his nobility. This was a read where he's confronted by by the captain, or actually was the admiral. He was a captain at the time, and one of the lines, the admiral's lines, essentially. Was what you've done is going to, and if you persist in this, it's going to cost you your life. And I just that quiet moment, and I decided I threw a nod in there as if saying, okay, I'm good with that. His nobility, so I fell in love with that character, and then the rest, as far as getting a script. Are you kidding? No script, show up and feeling like, oh my God, this is it. I'm going to step up on a stool, look into a camera lens, and goodbye. I'm done. Never be back. It's that at least for me, it's that sort of that feeling that you've never done as good as you could, and that they'll never call me. I'm not, all of that crap. But anyway, I love the guy, love the island, love the people, and I wish. I mean, looking at these beautiful people on the screen, including yourself, Patty. I wish that I had been able to be in scenes and work with all of you. But I'm so happy and so proud that to a greater or lesser extent, I've managed to become at least an acquaintance, if not a friend, with all of these beautiful people. So I'm a lucky guy. What can I tell you?
And we're so lucky to have you here, boss. Thank you, good. So Nestor, you again, you were the big enigma character, and then you were the even bigger enigma when you went to go work on another project. But fortunately, things worked out. They brought you back. Oh wait, he's like, you're on mute. Still on mute. Is he muted from our end? Oh dear. We're getting him. Our technical people say that your mic is trying to. Oh wait.
There we go. Is that it?
There you go.
Yes.
I've got those. It was the dog for sure. She came in here. I just want to say, like Andrew, I'm incredibly lucky. I mean, this is a show that for me certainly changed my life, changed the lives of my entire family, and it came in a very unexpected way. Like Andrew. And by the way, Andrew, I think how many languages do you speak? This is one of the beautiful things the show.
I speak eight. I speak eight.
Unbelievable. Incredible the things you find out about, the enormous talents of all of these people. But I was blown away by that when we met.
Thank you, brother.
But yeah, incredibly lucky. And yes, the way I came to the show was, not unlike Andrew, it was one of those things sort of kind of last minute. You get these sides. And I remember Shannon was a massive fan of the show, religious watcher, and she said, and she was acting at the time, she said, if whoever gets a shot at being on the show, we're all going to go to the island, if we get a guest shot on the show. So sure enough, I get this material, but we have a scheduled meeting at preschools for one of our kids, for our oldest child, that day. And I'm like, well, I've got this audition and it's mounds of material. And I don't want to lose our one shot at this show by not preparing for it. And I've got to do this thing for our kid. So I was like, I'm going to pass on this one, and hopefully there'll be another opportunity. But sure enough, I woke up in the morning and I was like, I can't pass on this. There's no way. There's a lot of great material here. I went in and it was every different ethnicity in the group. I was like different ages for the character. I go, wow, I don't know if they know exactly what they're going for here. There's not a specific type, but thankfully it came together in the room. April Webster was amazing. But then like Andrew, I was like, well, that's gone. I haven't heard. I'll probably work again. I'm going to pay for that preschool. But sure enough, it wasn't actually long after that I got a call. I was like, yeah, you're going to Hawaii. I'm like, what? I go, yeah. And it was a guest spot. It was to be a flashback for Juliet's character, episode 7 in season 3, not in Portland, I bet. And so I go home. I tell my wife, she's flipping out, and she goes, we're going to Hawaii. I'm going, well, I don't know. I mean, she goes, we're going to Hawaii. So we all packed up and went, and had the time of our lives. And again, thought, okay, that's it. It's a little contained piece for a backstory. That was fun. And then not long after that, 2 or 3 weeks later, after it aired, they're like, yeah, they want you back on the island. I go, but anyway, so, long story short, the character, like Francois, was unexpectedly called on to be in the present day. And then little did I know that I didn't age, that was 100 years old. And one of my favorite moments was when I got to the island. We all got the script hand delivered to us. This is before the internet was blowing up. Yeah. And I remember being at the hotel, the Ala Moana Hotel, and I was like, oh, they couldn't leave it at the lobby. I had to come. They either had to come, I had to go down and receive it personally. I was like, wow, this is impressive. So I get it, I open it, and then I see my name, and it's just like sort of like on the front cover of the script, and then on every page, and I'm going, this is so nice of them. What a welcome. I was so naive. I didn't realize. They don't want me to photograph it.
That's great.
So anyway, but that was my intro to life.
There you go. And season 4, Jeremy, you came on board. What was that experience like?
Oh, good heavens, my friend. Well, sincerely, I echo the honor that these guys are expressing. To this day, I'm still not convinced, or maybe just now I'm starting to become convinced that it might be too late to recast my role.
A little bit.
That's how much of a crime, sincerely a crime I felt it was that I know I sound violently self-deprecating, and I do have that tendency, but I tell you, they should have screen tested me. They should have auditioned me. And if they had, there's no way I would have gotten this role for a number of reasons. But so I think it was, when I say it was against the better judgments of our criminally gifted showrunners, Carlton and Damon, I really mean it, for a few reasons. It turned out to be this pretty wild collision of serendipity and synchronicity, me ending up on the show, for the following reasons, which I swear I'll try to make as abridged as possible. I don't want to digress too recklessly, but the project I'd done before this, I had the great honor of working with my friend Francois with the legendary filmmaker Werner Herzog on Rescue Dawn, right? And again, against his better judgment. And that experience, if you know Herzog's films, if you've seen Fitzcarraldo and the documentary that came along with it about how it was like one of the most difficult films ever to be made, we had a really Fitzcarraldo-esque experience on making Rescue Dawn. Very, half the crew quit. They were so frustrated with Herzog, and I was playing a prisoner of war, right? Vietnam War, and to honor these prisoners, these soldiers, I didn't want to show up looking well fed. So I lost 40 pounds actually for the role. And the connection to the Lost is this was what I did. This was the project I did before. So I lost all that weight. And when I came back, I was sick during that experience, just trying to get down to that weight and deal with all the stress and shadowing Herzog, which is a whole other adventure. And this, again, I mean it, this offer, which shouldn't have been an offer. It was just the most criminal offer ever in the history of Hollywood. This came out of nowhere, and I happened to be, in the very best sense, of nowhere. But what I mean by synchronicity, this collision of synchronicity and serendipity, is at that time I was sick, trying to gain this weight back, and didn't even realize how sick I was. But I was also reading a book at the time called The Field, which is one of my favorite books of all time, by Lynn McTaggart, which is, she's this brilliant journalist, scientist who this story is it's like a detective story, a science detective story about real life quantum physicists who are rogue quantum physicists pushing the envelope of, pushing back against Newtonian based scientists, which is essentially Faraday. There was a lot of Faraday in this book. So I was like halfway through it when the offer came to play Faraday. And so it became this book, The Field. It really became, just the spirit of Faraday. And here I go digressing recklessly when I said I wouldn't.
So you had a quantum moment where you were doing the research for the role and before the role had been offered.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I mean about exactly. Well said.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So, hey, and a reminder to our audience, if you would like to chat with our guests like I am now or purchase a personalized autograph, sign up now at GalaxyCon.com. And I've been told that we have questions from our audience we are good to go to. So let's go ahead and roll our first one. And this is going to come from Kristen, and she would like to know, what's the best memory you have from your time on Lost?
I'll go that it's not just one time or one memory, that it's a memory that happened multiple times of especially on night shoots when we're on the beach, but daytime too, of the musically inclined and talented, not me, would sit around in our cast chairs in a circle and play guitar and sing, and sometimes we'd use one of the fires that were lit because the beach always had the campfires. I mean, and that was work.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God. Really special people, really special memories, and just, sharing those sort of sing-along chats by the campfire on like a regular basis was, especially earlier on, especially like season 1, season 2.
Yeah.
Just really, really special, and always remember that. Yeah.
That's nice.
I agree with Emilie. I think any time we had this sort of bond on that beach, I mean, the material itself was a gift. The other gift was the people that we got to meet and work with. And then the other, on top of that, you add a walk into the mix. And it's just for anyone who's had the privilege of ever having to travel there, it's one of the most magical places on earth that I've certainly been to. And yeah, I mean, it's stunning. And just getting to throw the football with Terry O'Quinn on the beach, those are moments I'll never forget. You're right. Hearing Josh Holloway sing Landslide, that was epic. That was pretty special. I mean, there were just, talking about whiskey with Michael Emerson. I mean, just the simple things, or even going around the cast base and saying, rate your top 5, candy bars. I mean, it was just, those are just the best moments, so it was all of that for me.
Zagnut, Charleston Chew, whatchamacallit.
It was a big
Apollo.
Oh, nice. Who else got a memory they'd like to share?
Just if I make sort of following up on that, another link in the chain. The crew was so amazing, and I did get to sit around, and I'll drop a name, Ravin. Man, when he pull out the guitar and play and could sing, man, it was so wonderful, and I felt so. I said, "Wow, man, I'm sitting in this circle, and I'm certainly not musically inclined either, Emilie." But I thought, wow, man, I'm here and I'm getting to listen, and it's beautiful, and look where I am, and wow, and sort of the progression of that was, being in the jungle for a 12, 14, 16-hour day. It would often rain and shut everything down, and I remember the crew would pull out the 5-gallon buckets and be drumming away. Somebody'd pull out a guitar and they'd be singing, and it was just amazing. You were sort of trying to shelter under a palm or whatever, not to get too rained on. Not that would matter, but it was it was magical, and it was the crew and the people of that island that made it that magical. And so I'll never forget those moments. Yeah.
Nice.
Here's my memory, and hearing all you guys, I hate you guys. I never had those things. People always come up to me, "Oh, how was it to work with Nestor and Emilie and all these great guys, and all? It must have been so great hanging out." And I'm like, I flew over there. I went to the studio by myself.
Wow.
I shot my video. I went back to the hotel, and the next day I flew home. And this was like the first, 4 seasons. And it wasn't until the 5th season. The only person on screen right now that I had a scene with was Jeremy, I think. And then it wasn't until later on that I got to hang out and hear Josh pull out his guitar and sing and all that stuff. That was great. I was like, wow, it's been 5 years, and now I get to enjoy some of this. But before that, it was, it was great. Hawaii is great, but I just remember flying over, doing my thing. And even then, you fly over and I'm in the hotel, and then late at night, somebody would slip under my door the scenes for what I was supposed to do the next day. And they were usually like, 2-3 page monologues.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? Finally I said, I gotta have a little more time to study this, because it's not working.
Yeah.
But it was pretty lonely the first few years, guys. That's all I have to say. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you were eventually able to join the campfire times.
It was great.
It was absolutely was. So, Jeremy, bring us home.
Well, thank you, sir. Probably the most striking memory to begin with, which we've all kind of echoed here, is just the feeling of the recognition that you're going to work with family in a really rarefied way, I think. Milos Forman's one of my favorite filmmakers, and he used to say that when he was shooting, what he was trying to do, he'd shoot a lot of takes. He's famous for shooting a lot. He used to say what he was trying to do was capture unrepeatable moments. And he would try to create an atmosphere on set with his cast where they could be spontaneous on the camera, or there could be some kind of rarefied connection that was just, you couldn't write it down on the page. And I remember feeling like, how incredibly fortunate I was to be, every single time I worked, to be surrounded by folks as extraordinarily gifted as these four family friends here, and the others. And by the way, I'll tell you, like, the secret to getting away with not being recast is to surround yourself with folks like this and writers who are God-sized gifted as well. So there's that kind of overall memory of feeling like, you know, I get to the secret to getting away with as I was sort of say, the secret to getting away with not being recast is to make yourself look better by surrounding yourself with folks like these.
And again, you speak such a truth about this show in general. The entire extended cast. Again, April, she was the casting director.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a
She's
fantastic selection.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic selection. I mean, and truly. And again, I can't imagine her challenge. You know, again, those JJ and his frat boy creative maniacs that he had working on the show. Yeah, she had to like, oh, we're gonna do this. It's like, okay, I gotta find somebody. All right, so kudos to her. Kudos to her, and kudos to what recognizing all of your talents and those of your castmates as well. So absolutely, I think we have time for one more. So let's see if we can pull out here. And Kristen, thank you very much. That was a great question for us. What do we have? And this is gonna come from Jewel. Wants to know, when did you find out or realize what the ending was? Okay, this is a loaded question.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't realize when the ending was.
It was.
That's
I
it.
don't know what the ending was. I just know that most people, there were two camps where I had a friend, a good friend of mine from college, who was just, bonkers about the show. And he loved it so much. And then he watched the ending, and then I talked to him, and he said, "God damn, you made me waste like 5 years of my life." I said, what were you talking about? So he was in that camp where, I think he wanted all the info, all the little, the things, the mysteries that were put out there. And there was the other camp where people said, "Oh God, that ending was amazing. It was great. I loved it. I don't care what anybody says." So, but then, again, I'm not sure I don't know what the ending was.
Patrick McGowan, the creative force behind The Prisoner, had the same thing. He had a very ending of his series that people weren't satisfied. He had to go into hiding in the United States for a year because it was chased out of London. And yes, I certainly concede. Yeah, you're right. There are two camps on the ending of the show, and that's a good way of putting it. But I lean towards the ones that were satisfied. I was like, this is good. I got I didn't need the answers, but I got the emotions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're exactly on that ride where you're hooked into the characters, and more so than say just all the questions needing being answered, then you're probably going to be more satisfied. And I certainly was on that camp as well. But I did have is that me? I did have the privilege of working with Carlton again after that on Bates Motel, and we talked a lot about the ending, and even though I did understand what was on the page, he clarified for those, and he basically said that it was in essence, that church scene, which I didn't receive that scene. I got the final script without that scene, so anybody who was not in that scene didn't get that portion of the script. But I was invited to go to the church just to say goodbye to all the other actors. That was another special moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that church is essentially a purgatory. So when Jack dies in real time on the island, for those who are not clear on it, he's in the back there, and he sees his father, and he asks him, what is this place? And he goes, "This is a place that," essentially paraphrasing, "the place that knows no time." And he goes, "What are all these people doing here?" And he goes, "They're sending you off to higher ground." So essentially that was a soul group that had died at different times, even though we saw them as we knew them. And so that was really kind of beautiful for me. I think Carlton mentioned the scene that confused a lot of people was the very last shot was a shot of the empty beach. which they, people thought, oh my God, they were never there. They died. They were all dead. That really was just a thank you, an homage to Oahu. It had nothing to do with, it was simply that. So that might have confused some people, but that was all that it was intended to be.
Andrew knows the real answer, but he ducked out on us, so he didn't have to reveal it. he knew exactly what the answers are. Okay. Hopefully he'll join us again. Emilie.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't. When did you find out or realize? So find out. I'm not sure, Jewel, if you're asking when did we find out what it was, like on a timeline. I'm pretty close to filming it. Like Nestor said, if you were in it, you got that scene. If you weren't, you didn't. And I think I got 2 scenes, aka, which one will it be? Just to keep us on our toes. And the whole script was read. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The whole last script was read, for photocopy or no photocopy purposes, or maybe just because Nestor likes red.
I like red. I do.
I think it was maybe the night before it even, because and they knew it wasn't like dialogue for us to learn, or they weren't sort of messing anybody up on an acting standpoint from keeping it that late for once. I think there were 2. God, it was such a special time, though, such a special scene, and like you guys talked about, it is. Person watching a show, and I don't know. I liked the fact that it did not tie everything up cleanly with a little bow and say, here's all your answers, because if they'd done that, first of all, would have taken so long. It would be incredibly boring just to list off sort of factually what your answers are. I get it, but I don't know. I like the mystery. I like what they did, but I see everyone's point of view.
Yeah, I think the show ultimately was about people. It was about emotions. It was about life, and in life, we don't get the answers. We don't get.
You get some. You get tidbits here and there, and then you kind of have to make your own truth, and you kind of have to figure it out for yourself a lot more than maybe you think.
Yeah. So absolutely, Jeremy. Any thoughts on the finale of the show?
Thoughts on the finale, or when I saw it, or both?
Or maybe just your recollections. What's your opinion?
I didn't catch up to it for quite a while afterwards, because I obviously wasn't in it, and it took a while to be able to come full circle to finish out the whole series. The episodes that I wasn't in, and of the episodes that I wasn't in, because it's like a death in the family. Just the idea of the whole family having an ending. And I concur with these guys with what you're saying. I appreciated the more dialectical nature of the ending. Wasn't so paint by number. Wasn't good. It's like the best characters are, of course, polymorphous and 4-dimensional. They're not good or bad. They're good and bad. Yeah. And landing that plane, that particular crash-landed plane, just an extraordinary feat to pull it off in any way, shape, or form. And I applaud them for finding a way that was that moving and viable and memorable.
Agreed.
So.
Absolutely agreed. And I have been informed that Andrew is suffering a power outage in his area. What he's going to do, so to let everybody know, if you have a private chat scheduled with him, he's going to switch over to his phone, so we should have him up to date to that. But I don't think he's going to join us because, unfortunately, GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of Lost, but it absolutely does not have to be yours. If you'd like to chat with any of our guests, including our Lost Lamp, wait!
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry guys. Lost a computer. I'm out in the parking lot right now on my phone. So sorry about that.
No worries. No worries, Buzz. We were just about ready to sign up. I'm so glad to have you on here. And I was telling everybody if they had a private chat scheduled, you'd be able to continue it. So very good. I'll tell you what, Andrew, real super quick. What are your thoughts on the final episode, if you have any to share?
So the final episode, as far as knowing when it was going to happen and all, I wasn't in that loop. And then as you know, I know there was a lot of huzzah about, gosh, I hope after all of this time that I've invested looking at the show, I hope it's not going to be a dream sequence or something like that. And so I, there was a lot of that, but gosh, I mean, it was sad to see it end. And as far as judgment about what that script was or the writing or any of that, I didn't have any of that. I was just so happy to be part of it. That it, and I wish I had been part of the final. I don't know how that would have worked, but I didn't get bent out of shape about it.
Fair. Absolutely.
I hope that's somewhat a question there.
No, that is absolutely perfect. And Jewel, thank you so much. That was a great question for us to sign up on. And absolutely, gentlemen and ladies, it's been my absolute pleasure to serve you all today. Once again, thank you for joining us here at the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Any final words for our audience before we all go backstage?
Thank you for watching. Thank you for the memories.
Thank you so much. And
thanks for being
allowing
such
us to get together virtually.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you for being fans. Really, we made the show for you guys. And wear a mask, please. Wear a mask.
Yes. Thank you, like gangbusters, for being such magnificent fans. And if you would please Google Leonard Peltier. I'm honored. One of the reasons I'm honored, and one of many reasons I'm honored to do this, is I get to wear a T-shirt like this, which shines a little skinny light on Leonard Peltier to promote awareness. He's the longest held political prisoner in the history of the U.S., Native American leader of the American Indian movement. Yeah. He was framed by Nixon's FBI. He's been in prison for 45 years for a crime he didn't commit. So anything you can do to raise your awareness and your friends' awareness, I'd be grateful. And thank you again for being such truly multi-dimensionally magnificent fans.
Thank you all. It's been my absolute pleasure to serve you all again. Thank you for joining us here today. Thank you to our audience for joining us today. And thank you all for your great questions. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. And please keep washing those hands.